Picture this. You're drifting through the shallow, sunlit sea of a world that existed 480 million years ago. There is no sound of birds because there are no birds. There is no green on the land because there is no land we're speaking of, just bare rock and silence. This ocean is the entire world, and everything that will ever live on Earth is still swimming inside it. And then, from the shadow of a reef, something begins to move. A shape longer than a city bus. A shape with no eyes you recognize, no face you understand, just a straight, tapering shell drifting toward you with terrifying calm. Because it doesn't need to hurry. It already knows you cannot leave. Left, and it's there. Right, and it's there. Up, and its tentacles are already spreading to close the last gap. It doesn't chase. It waits. And in front of it, nothing in this ocean escapes. Welcome back to Fawad's Deep Blue. I'm Fawad Malik. And on this channel, we go looking for the strangest, most powerful predators the ocean has ever produced. From the depths of today's seas to creatures so ancient they existed before backbones did. Today, we're going back further than almost any predator we've ever covered. To meet the animal that ruled the ocean before fish had jaws, before coral reefs looked anything like they do now, and before anything on this planet had a spine worth protecting. Its name is Cameroceras. Say that name out loud, and it sounds almost gentle, like something you find in a botany textbook, not a nightmare. But 480 million years ago, in the seas of what we now call the Ordovician period, Cameroceras was the closest thing this planet had to an undisputed ruler. It belonged to a group of animals called cephalopods, the same family that today gives us squid, octopus, and cuttlefish. But if you're picturing something soft and flexible like a modern squid, forget it. Cameroceras carried a long, straight, cone-shaped shell, and depending on which fossil specimens you're looking at, that shell alone could stretch anywhere from 2 meters up to a genuinely staggering 6 meters in the largest confirmed individuals. Some of the earliest fossil estimates from the last century push that number even further, suggesting a handful of giants may have approached 9 to 11 meters in total length, once you include the head and the trailing tentacles. Even taking the more conservative modern estimate, we are still talking about one of the largest animals, soft-bodied or otherwise, that existed anywhere on Earth at that point in history. For context, nothing alive today with a backbone was even close to existing yet. Fish were still primitive, jawless, and small. The vertebrate story, the one that eventually leads to you, had barely started writing its first paragraph, and Cameroceras was already at the top of the food chain. So what did it actually eat? The most common prey in these Ordovician seas were trilobites, hard-shelled arthropods that could roll themselves into an armor ball, a defense so effective it kept them safe from almost everything else in the ocean. Almost everything. Cameroceras is believed to have been an ambush predator, holding a mostly stationary position near reefs and rocky crevices, letting its long tentacles drift outward like strands of kelp swaying in the current. The moment prey brushed against those tentacles or disturbed the water nearby, the ambush was triggered, and with a grip that modern nautilus relatives suggest would have been extraordinarily strong for an animal of this size, the trilobite had essentially no chance of pulling free. From there, a sharp, beak-like mouth at the center of the tentacles would have gone to work, and paleontologists studying damaged trilobite fossils from this period have found clean, rounded punctures in the shells that look far more like precision bite marks than random breakage. The kind of damage you'd expect from a beak built to crack armor open like a can. But the detail that really stops people in their tracks is what was happening inside that long, straight shell. Unlike a solid bone or tusk, the shell of Cameroceras was internally divided into a long series of separate chambers, connected together by a slender internal tube called a siphuncle. Through this siphuncle, the animal is believed to have been able to regulate the gas and fluid balance inside its chambers, effectively giving the ability to rise, sink, or hover motionless in open water, entirely under its own control. In other words, this ancient, soft-bodied hunter was carrying around a functioning buoyancy control system, the same basic engineering principle that submarines wouldn't formally apply until human engineers figured out centuries later. Nature had already solved the problem hundreds of millions of years before we did. For roughly 30 million years, this body plan worked. Cameroceras and its close relatives spread across the shallow tropical seas of the Ordovician world, from what is now North America to Europe and parts of Asia, dominating an ocean that had nothing large enough, fast enough, or armored enough to seriously challenge them. Eventually, like almost every dominant species in Earth's history, their reign came to an end. The large nautiloid group was hit hard during the mass extinction that closed out the Ordovician period, and animals on this scale never fully returned to the oceans in quite the same form again. What did survive in a much smaller and much less monstrous shape are the ancestors that eventually gave rise to the squid and octopus species swimming in our oceans today, a faint, shrunken echo of what once ruled the seas unchallenged. It's strange to think that something this dominant, this well-engineered, and this successful for 30 million years is now known mostly from broken shell fragments and rock, pieced back together one specimen at a time. But that's the story of almost every apex predator in Earth's deep past. Total control of an entire ecosystem, followed by silence, followed by us digging up the evidence millions of years later and trying to imagine what it must have felt like to swim in front of one. If prehistoric ocean giants like this fascinate you as much as they fascinate me, make sure you're subscribed to Fawad's Deep Blue, because we'll go even deeper into the history of our oceans in upcoming videos. Drop a like on this video. Share it with someone who loves the ocean as much as you do, and let me know in the comments which ancient sea monster you want us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.